up, though, Detroit and everybody in the United States of America and all the countries.
Everybody watching worldwide, you know what I'm saying? All our fans.
Yes.
Welcome to Unsolicited Advice. Yes. I'm Kevin Johnson.
And I'm nobody who's somebody, Penelope.
And I'm here to give you just one man's opinion.
Get it?
Yeah, man. We're going to get into it real quick. We got a lot to cover in the show, but you know how we always start off? We always start off with the verse.
Matthew 5:44.
Yep, Matthew 5, verse 44. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Yep. We're just going to leave that right there. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. By now, if you have not seen it, we have had the verdict come down in the Chauvin trial. The man who was on trial for murder of George Floyd. And all three counts, he came back guilty: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter.
I don't feel like it's justice for George Floyd, but I do feel it's accountability. Accountability has finally been, but the fight for justice in this broken system is still ongoing, because we still have Breonna Taylor,
right? We
still have current Daunte Wright, and we just had a shooting in Columbus, Ohio, a young lady,
Ma'Khia Bryant.
So it's a little.
I will tell you what I feel, because I mean I hear a lot of people saying exactly what you're saying. It's the accountability aspect of it. It's like, all right then, so now at least hopefully in someone else's mind, some other cop's mind, they will think that, all right then, there may be real consequences to me pulling out this gun so quickly. I mean, because that's what happened with the Ma'Khia situation in Columbus.
But the thing is, she called the cops, because I guess she was in a situation of about to be jumped or whatever, so she had the knife defending herself. My thing is, you know, I know enough about police procedures from being police explorers, that you supposed to freeze. You supposed to announce. You supposed to say something. Not just straight up go on the scene and stuff, because you don't know what you're walking into. And my thing is, the person have a knife. You have a gun. You gonna tell me you don't have enough training as an officer to get a knife out of somebody's hand?
I mean, officers are taught to shoot to kill, not shoot to wound, and I do understand that, but that's only in a situation where it feels like
your life was not threatened.
Necessary force.
Yeah, your life was not.
His life was not threatened, and I will say this: he saw a knife and saw a girl being attacked. So for that girl, the girl who was in the pink in the video, he did his job.
But she was defending herself from that person.
You're right.
My thing is, why you couldn't shoot? You could have shot her in the leg. Like, why is it shoot to kill? Then that needs to stop. If that is what y'all are taught, to shoot to kill, to just take somebody's life, then that needs to stop. Because at the end of the day, we are a human being, and God have mercy on your soul. The mercy that you do not give other people. You are not nobody's judge and jury. You know what I'm saying? And it's ridiculous.
Speaking my opinion.
It's ridiculous, because I got kids, you know, and I'm scared every time my son leaves this freaking house. This doesn't make no sense. You got somebody who sat up here and got killed because, you know, yes, he fled the scene or whatever, but does that deserve a life sentence of death?
Yeah, I mean, I had to make a point to somebody. If any time we're running away, that means we're not threatening the officer.
No.
We are trying to get away. I mean, even in the Chicago case with the young man who got killed, who they're saying that he had a gun and, you know, Leslie tossed it right before the officer shot him.
But I even know
he was still running. He's still running from the cop.
And that means his back was towards. I even know from security when we got robbed at Pizza Hut or whatever, and, you know, my dumb butt, you know, say, like, man, why you didn't shoot him? He was like, his back was towards me. He's like, all I could do was, like, you know, try to grab him. So he grabbed him by the ankle, but he jumped in the car, and whoever was in there got him, and then speeding off, you know, then he fell. But he had his gun, but he could not just straight up shoot him because his back was towards him. Now, if he was, you know, turned towards him or whatever, and he, you know, had his weapon up, yes. But, you know, so this is ridiculous. And my thing is, like, with Daunte Wright, he had an air freshener. His life ended.
It wasn't like you ran the place and saw a criminal.
Or even if he had a warrant out for his arrest. Does a warrant out for your arrest mean a death sentence? Y'all need to stop trying to be people's judge and jury or whatever. Let people still go home and let them face a trial. That's the reason why we supposed to have this system or whatever. But y'all take all that out. But at the end of the day, these are people. This is somebody's, child. He was even a parent. I think he had a child.
Right.
So this is crazy. He died because of air freshener. This other guy dies because you put your knee in his neck because you think he had a counterfeit 20 or whatever the case be.
Right.
Bad behavior of passing on a counterfeit bill. Is that a death sentence? This is ridiculous. A person selling cigarettes out their car. Death sentence?
Right. We have to, it's going to take some time, but we have to not, officers can't see us as a threat. They can't see a white guy and think that he's going to be docile. And then whenever you see a black guy, think that he's going to be aggressive, because we're not. And I will say this. For one, I do want to give a shout out to the American justice system and the fact that they made sure that they had a jury. It was really a jury of our peers, with it being multiracial. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just an all-white jury, just like for Emmett Till, who was found, his abusers were found not guilty. We had different people who represent all the nation on that jury. And I think that spoke to the humanity of it, man. I don't think it was a racial issue as much as a human issue. And I don't even think it's more of a cop issue as a human issue.
But it's just like my son, he was on the job and he got pulled over or whatever. And he said he saw this person driving like crazy and stuff like that, jumped in front of him, all that. And then when they got off of the exit, just as roll his window down, like, what's the issue, whatever. And he said a whole bunch of crap and threw a freaking cigarette at my son. And it went through his window and he hit it and it kind of like went through his pocket and his jacket or whatever. And, my son went to chase after him and the state trooper saw that and just as, jumped in front of them or whatever. And he got out and he confronted that person. You straight up threw a cigarette at me or whatever. I have to give a shout out to that state trooper. I don't know his name or whatever, but he talked to my son. He listened to what they said, but then he went to my son and he was like 2 seconds of talking to them. I could tell them they full of crap. But, just let my son know that you got to harness your anger. But at the same time, if somebody justified throwing a cigarette through your window and burning you, could have burned. And he was in his work car, not his own personal vehicle or whatever. But I appreciate that state trooper because that could have went a whole nother way. He did cuff my son. He did put him in the back, but then he talked to him and he gave them other people a ticket.
Right.
So it's like, the situation.
There are good cops.
There are good cops out there.
Man. This is not an indictment on every cop. We just want the ones who are in the system to give us. When
you start hating people, then you need to take off that uniform. You don't deserve to have that badge.
Well, you are not come in hating people. For real.
At all.
You don't get into the police force and then start hating people.
But that's what I'm saying. Like over time, like that person, 26 years. Like, how do you not know the difference between a taser and a gun? A gun is like over 2 pounds. A taser is not even a pound. Like, and even in peripheral, I got my hand over here and I can see it. I'm not looking at it. So you could tell if something is black and you could tell if something is yellow just with your peripheral. Right. Just like when my kids, they scare me and fists go up. My brain be like, hey, that's your child. That's your child. So my fist stops. I don't just go charging.
Right.
So I don't know. Got to do better. But anyway, let's get into this food.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? We need some of this comfort food to calm us down during this time right here. So
and a drink.
And a drink. A little something to sip on, man.
So shout out to The Rock. We're trying his Terramata tequila with some watermelon. And I failed with the tempura batter. I got to do better, but I know it tastes good. So I got some tempura vegetables, zucchini, carrots, broccoli, and I have shrimp. So
see, your boy got the chopstick skills, you know what I'm saying?
I tried to get some fancy ones, but we just had to get the ones that was at the restaurant.
And in spite of everything that's going on, man, this is a turning point in America. We have this time to say, hey, look here, this case meant a lot to us all because America had to look. And you can see that black people, we're not violent, man. All we want is freedom. All we want is fairness. All we want is, like my mom used to tell me, the same thing she just said about her son. You know, we want our kids to get home safe. And that's not just from the streets, but it's also from those who are here to protect us. Is it good? Slapping? Oh, yeah.
I've been cooking all day, and I'm hungry.
Well, we're about to go ahead and get down on this food. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Unsolicited Advice this week. My name is Kevin Johnson, here to give you just one man's opinion.
And I'm nobody who's somebody, feeding her face, Penelope.
We'll check you all out next week, man. Be blessed.